Good morning, class. See the picture on your screen. See carefully. A person is there sitting on a chair and a wine is in hand. And see, one more figure is there. It is looking like ghost. Don't you think? Yeah, of course. So today we are going to read a poem, Colonel Fazackerley Butterworth Toast. Colonel Fazackerley Butterworth Toast. So, first of all, let us see what is the summary of the poem. So, Colonel Fazackerley Butterworth Toast is a humorous poem written by Charles Kingsley, which describes the failure of a ghost to frighten Colonel in his new castle there he had newly bought. As the Colonel is about to dine, the ghost makes its appearance from the chimney and tries to scare him. But he is amused to see the ghost and calls him, "My dear fellow." He thinks the ghost is going for a fancy dress show. When the ghost, in his anger, tries to move about in and out of the room, he offers him a drink and wants to know how he did it all. The ghost's frustration knows no bound in his moans fill the entire castle before he listens and encore from the Colonel and disappears from there. Colonel still feels undisturbed despite all this and thinks that he can't even call him back as he doesn't even know his name. So, this is the poem about. So, the poem is also the interaction of Colonel with a ghost, and the ghost in his poem tries to scare Colonel, but when the Colonel sees him, he asks him if he is going to a fancy dress show. That infuriates the ghost because his purpose was to scare him, but he fails miserably. That makes him angrier, and he moans in the protest and finally disappears. But this makes no difference to Colonel, and he thinks to himself that he didn't even ask the ghost his name, and he cannot call him back. So this is the poem about. Now let us read the first stanza and let us try to find out what is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Colonel Fazackerley Butterworth Toast bought an old castle complete with a ghost, but someone or other forgot to declare to Colonel Fazackerley that the spectre was there. So see the last four words of each line. The last word, toast, ghost, declare, there. So what is the sound? Toast and ghost is the same sound as it is A, declare and there. Then the sound is same, then it is B. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, So Colonel has bought an old castle and complete with a ghost, means ghost was also there. But someone or other forgot to declare to Colonel Fazackerley that the spectre was there. But the person who sold the house, you can say, he didn't declare that some spectre means a ghost was living there. So Colonel has bought a new house, you can say. He purchased a new house and ghost was also there, but the person who sold the house, he didn't declare that some ghost was living there. On the very first evening, While waiting to dine, the colonel was taking a fine sherry wine when the ghost, with a furious flash and flare, shot out of the chimney and shivered. Beware! Now see what happened. On the very first evening, while waiting to dine, means when colonel was going to dine, means eating dinner, the colonel was taking a fine sherry wine. He had a fine sherry wine in his hand, when the ghost, with a furious flash and flare, at once the ghost enters there, and with a bright flame, means shining, shot out of the chimney and shivered. Beware! And he at once shouted. Beware means beware of. Colonel Fazackerley put down his glass and said, My dear fellow, that's really first class. I just cannot convince how you do it all. I imagine you are going to a fancy dress ball. Now you see, a humor is there. The colonel didn't afraid of that, and he put his glass one side and asked the ghost, My dear, it's really very humorous. I just can't convince how you do it at all. Means I am unable to understand. I can't imagine. How can you do all these things? And you are looking as you are going to a fancy dress show or a party, you can say. That your dress is of such type that you are going to a fancy dress party. At this, the dread ghost gave a withering cry. Said the colonel, his monocle firm in his eye. Now just how you do it, I wish I could think. Do sit down and tell me, and please have a drink. So when the ghost heard that colonel was making a fun of him, and he was asking that he was in the fancy dress and he was not afraid of him, so the ghost gave a withering cry. Withering cry means screaming, shouting. The ghost was shouting at that time. Said the colonel. At that the colonel said, Now just how you do it, I wish I could think. Means I wish that I could think how you are able to shout, how you can do it. Do sit down and tell me, and please have a drink. So please sit down, sit with me, talk with me, tell me how do you do it, and you can have a drink with me. You can enjoy with me. You can have a drink with me so that you can explain your thing. So it is the interaction of colonel with the ghost, and the ghost is trying to scare colonel. But when colonel asked that are you going to a fancy dress show, all these things made the ghost angry, and he was shouting and he was becoming angry. But colonel was not afraid of him, and colonel asked to sit down near him and then please have a drink, and offered him a drink. So the poem is about a conversation between colonel and the ghost. Colonel has bought a new house and he is going to dine. Dine means he is going to take his dinner, and he is ready for that, and at the same time the ghost appears and he tried to frighten the colonel, but he was not afraid. He was making a fun of the ghost, and he wanted to talk with him so that they can enjoy the time. So let's continue. Now see the next. So today I think this is sufficient. You can read it and you try to find out the word meaning. Whatever word you feel difficult, you just write the meaning of that, and you write in your notebook also, and you write in your book also. Tomorrow we shall complete the whole poem. Okay, so it's bye for today.